Superman, Fantastic Four, First Steps are superhero movies back. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for checking out this video. Let's dig in. Fantastic Four just had its opening weekend. As you can see, Fantastic Four First Steps blasts off with $218 million global bow. That is almost identical. Of course, this will be tweaked a little bit. Could be a million 2 million more or less. Superman, I think, was initially announced around 218, 219, and then was said to be 220, almost identical to what Superman brought out its first weekend. So is this a revival? Is this a great sign for Marvel? Is this a great sign for superhero movies? Well, it's not terrible from what I hear from normal people, not the shills who are going to go over the top and praise everything and say this is the best movie since the best movie, and now this is the best movie since and of course, people will go the other way as well and say they hate it. I think both Superman and Fantastic Four were both kind of mid. They weren't terrible, which I think where we are now is a step in the right direction. It is a big improvement. They weren't great movies, but they had a lot of good things going for them. But does that translate to the box office? That is what really matters. Are they going to be allowed to continue forward? And so if we look at Fantastic Four, we've got this 216 million, very weak internationally, 99 million internationally. Didn't really do much in China, Asia, which seems to be typical now for a lot of these movies. I think they're kind of into making their own thing and not necessarily going to be spending a lot of money on movies like this. Now, let's put this a little more in context for Marvel. What have we had recently? We had Captain America: Brave New World. Bullish, 100 million in the US, 192 million globally. So Fantastic Four did a little more than Captain America: Brave New World, which from everything we're told, of course, also had a much, much bigger budget. That's always important to keep in context as well. So it did, but it didn't beat it by much. And that's the thing. And then we take a look. It says opens to a bullish amount, right? What did Captain America: Brave New World end up doing? $413 million. It lost a lot of money for Marvel, barely got more internationally than domestic, but also what we're seeing a lot of times now is word of mouth is also hurting these movies. You got a lot of people giving it a chance, and then they're telling everyone else, nah, maybe not. So, what are we going to see with Fantastic Four First Steps in this regard? As you can see with Captain America: Brave New World, right? Initially, it's looking pretty good, and then it very much underperformed the range of what was expected by its opening numbers. Another recent Marvel movie was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantum Mania, same thing. Only did 476 million worldwide. Now it did have a little more internationally, which we're not seeing with the more recent ones. But again, same thing with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantum Mania started out okay, and then you look at, okay, well, these are the opening numbers. Here's the range that it should end up in, and it did not meet those expectations. It fell short. Word of mouth was not good for this movie. I believe it lost money as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do believe it lost money. And then also to go with Captain America: Brave New World, the other Marvel movie this year was Thunderbolts. And a lot of people did like this movie. But again, unfortunately for Marvel, they've had such a string of failures, of unlikable movies that a lot of people have tuned out and they've given up. And so even when they hear something like Thunderbolts is getting good reviews and positive feedback, they're like, don't really care to see it. About a split, even split domestically and internationally, only $382 million worldwide. Now, again, word of mouth was slightly better because as you can see, it basically hugged the bottom of expectations here in terms of its number and its box office draw. So you've got a movie that failed to hit 400 million, and this is for Marvel, and you think of what their movies do, and then you had Captain America, which did 413, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was considered a huge failure, 476. So it's gone backwards. 476, 413. What I say, 382 for Thunderbolts. Now, is it likely Fantastic Four beats that? Yes, but not by a lot when you look at the openings. And so we'll see. Now, of course, you also had DCU, James Gunn's new DCU launching with Superman, and they almost did identical opening numbers. So where's Superman now? It is crossed $500 million. A lot of people, for some reason, are really emotional about talking about what Superman needs to break even. That's not, I think the minimum for break even is, I'm going to say, between 650 and 700. Being
Ant-Man
generous, I
and the
think
Wasp
it's
Quantumania.
700 or more. Um, but we shall see. I would say conservatively, like the bottom number, I'm going to say between 650 and 700 million. I think it's higher than that. I think 700 is probably the bottom number, but a lot of people get very upset with that. If you take the 225 budget and you take the half of that for marketing, which I think is a lot higher, but we'll say 115 instead of 112 and a half to make it easier. 115 and 225, 340. You double it, you've got 680 million for break even. And then of course that can vary a little depending on domestic, international, and so forth. But it is again not doing as well internationally. As you see these numbers start flipping, international is not becoming a higher number than domestic. Will Superman hit 700-800 million dollars? It might. I mean, I will say one thing that it's got going that when I showed you with the other Marvel movies, it's basically sitting right in the middle of expectations. So we'll see how long it is in the theater and how long it can hold that and see what it does. But here's also the other thing with these superhero movies, that these are not absolute disasters, right? I think there is a little bit of hope. I think when people talk about liking them and the feedback and so forth, I think it is a good sign going forward. I don't think it's turned things around by any stretch, but it is also not eliminated superhero movies going forward. However, that being said, both Fantastic Four and Superman are getting wrecked by a rather bad dinosaur movie. Jurassic World Rebirth is not a great movie. I know it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, but it is not a great movie. $720 million worldwide, a movie that actually has done a lot more internationally than domestically, although it's pulled over 300 million domestically as well. I think from everything I've heard, the budget is much more in line than other movies. It's, I'm sure, already turned a profit at this point. But you can also see, unlike all the other ones that I just showed you, it is hugging the top of the expectations window going forward. So word of mouth, I would say, has actually been good. Jurassic World has had more legs. So it is, let's let's we'll end this very unsatisfactorily. Mixed messages on the revival of the superhero movie. But let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Have you seen Superman? Have you seen Fantastic Four? What did you think of them? What do you think that means going forward? Are you excited for more movies in the James Gunn universe? Are you excited for, unfortunately, Marvel's done things really weird. I mean, now I know Superman, Spider-Man will be coming out before, but really the next big Marvel thing is Doomsday, which is not until December of 2026. Although if you check out the video I did yesterday, they've been shooting since April and still don't have a finished script, so that worries me. Spider-Man was originally supposed to come out after Doomsday, and now it's coming out before because of delays and so forth. But anyway, does Fantastic Four make you excited for the next phase of Marvel? Does James Gunn's Superman make you excited for the James Gunn DC universe? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for checking out this video. Appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, help us grow a little bit. I really do appreciate that as well. It is the only way YouTube says, yeah, we're going to show these videos to more people. So I thank you for all that. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.